Hello
Yes,
there, and welcome into my sports talk show. I'm your host, Carlation Jr., joined today by a special guest this evening on my sports talk show, Vernon Spearman, a former minor league baseball player of the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. How are you doing today, Vernon?
I'm doing good. I'm burning up living here in California. It's 101 degrees right now where we living at. So it's a scorcher. It's been like 100, the last 3 days. 105, 106. Now it's 101. Slightly cooler, I guess.
Now, what part of California are you at?
I'm in what we call Northern California. I live in Chico, California. It's like an hour uh, north of Sacramento, hour and a half north of Sacramento, close to the Redding, California area up north.
All right, so it's not by Dodger Stadium.
No, it'll take me 8 hours to drive to from where I live down to LA. But that's what we got flights for, 45 minutes.
Thank you for joining me today on my sports talk show. And now let me get started off with you got drafted in 1991 by the Los Angeles Dodgers and the MLB amateur draft. How did you feel when you got drafted?
I was excited. I mean, I've been playing ball since I was 5 years old, whatnot, and I played high school. Back when I was playing in '87 is when I graduated. Wasn't a lot of high school players getting drafted like they do, now and in the present time. I mean, I had a lot of ball players I played with, put up really great numbers, things like that, where you'd be like, oh man, if we was playing in this day and age, a lot of us probably would be drafted. I mean, I played on the team. We went 26-4. My senior year was 15th, rated 15th in the nation, for high school baseball. So, I thought I was going to get drafted. Yeah, didn't get drafted. I went to junior college. I thought I was going to get drafted after, my first year. And then, so on and so forth. And then when I went to Fresno State, I got drafted my first time. So, yeah, I was very excited.
So that was about, you just answered my question about Fresno State. You went to the California University of Fresno State. How did you like playing ball out there?
I loved it. I mean, like I said, it wasn't too far from home and it wasn't too close to home. If you get my drift, it was like, it was one of the things where it's like, it's a medium ground. And, I was able to still stay in California, go to a great school with a great tradition when it comes to, baseball and, the players that had been previously drafted, prior to me going. I believe in '89, Fresno State had 3 first rounders, that year. And I played against those guys, when I was in junior college, because my junior college coach had a connection with, Coach Bennett up at Fresno State. So we'd always play them like, in winter league games in November, December, that time. So I got to know the staff and everything. But yeah, those guys got drafted and I knew it was a great program. And so I loved every minute that I was there.
Who were the 3 guys you played against?
Tommy Goodwin, who was, he got drafted that year, '89. I got drafted '91. Tommy Goodwin, Steve Hosey, who, by the way, I don't know if a lot of people know, but his older brother or younger brother, I believe, is Paul Pierce, NBA Hall of Famer. And he grew up in Oakland, where I grew up at. Steve did. And then Eddie Zowski, who got drafted by the Blue Jays, shortstop. So that was like the first school. Our school was one of the first schools to have 3 first rounders, that started that whole thing off.
I find it funny. Paul Pierce, I didn't even know he had an older brother that played baseball.
Yeah.
I might have heard it, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, quick known for a little tidbit. So a lot of people don't know that, but his brother Steve Hosey, he was actually Steve lives in Fresno. He actually ran for I think city council or something, in the community. So he's doing a lot of great things, well after retirement, since we all been retired. Let's say that. Let's just say that.
Hey, what I find interesting, and I'm a New York fan, but I was so happy to see the Los Angeles Dodgers win the World Series in the pandemic last year. Just for Clayton Kershaw, people saying he'll never get a World Series ring. He'll never be a Hall of Famer. Tommy Lasorda will never see a World Series again. Tommy Lasorda, that was the last game he was at before he died in January.
Yeah, it was exciting, man. I mean, uh, that's the one big thing, in sports today, not just baseball, but just, whatever sport it is, basketball, football, hockey, the great players, if you're considered a great player, to not have a championship ring kind of takes away, I don't know, it kind of takes the luster off of it in a lot of people's eyes. Not me per se, because I played the sport. I know what it takes, to maintain that level and the things that you sacrifice. And so, whether that, some great players, it's not meant to be that they get, win championships. Doesn't take away from the fact that they were great players. I think just in this day and age, rings enhance, if you're a great player, like, yep, he got one. That's what great players do. But for those that didn't, they're still great players. There's many players, in the Hall of Fame, so to speak, that didn't win championships.
I still think it's funny to this day. Yogi Berra has been dead for a few years now, but I like when he hold his rings over Derek Jeter's and said, "You'll never get as many rings as I will, Derek."
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, just look at basketball. Look at Bill Russell. I mean, Bill Russell got 11 rings. And now, if we was talking this whole thing about who's the greatest of in sports, and we define everybody by championship ring, where would Bill Russell, wouldn't he be considered the GOAT? I mean, it's just that kind of argument that rings, in era different times, it's a lot of arguments, pros and cons. But I mean, if we just strictly talking about championships, why wouldn't Bill Russell be called the GOAT? He's got 11, playing. We ain't even talking about when he coached or, things of that nature.
Now, you said you went all the way to AAA. What was your favorite moment in minor league baseball, whether it was AAA, lowercase, AA, way down at the start? And who were some of your favorite teammates or coaches that managed you?
I'll say highlight for me, after getting drafted, was being able, my first year in short season A ball, they sent me to Yakima, Washington, played for the Yakima Bears. And, in college, I didn't have the green light at Fresno State to steal bases. I had to wait to get the signal. And I come from a program in my junior college where when I got on base, my coach told me run, so I was used to stealing on my own, creating havoc, averaging 35 bases, in a season. So when I got to Fresno, I had to wait on getting the signal and everything. I stole 29 bases. And I was like, that's terrible for me, my standard, where I come from. And I remember when I got drafted by the Dodgers and I met my manager. His name is Joe Vabra. I think he's in the big leagues right now. I know he used to be with the Twins. He might be with the Tigers, but he was my first manager. And I remember he telling me, when you get on base, you ain't getting no signal. You got 3 pitches. I need you to be moving. And just him allowing me to go back to that style, I was on track to break the Northwest League stolen base record, which was held by Tommy Goodwin, former teammate of mine. He had stole 63 in 72 games. I was on pace through my first 31 games. I had 33 stolen bases in 31 games. Wound up finishing the season. I stole 56 bases in 72 games. And I kind of shut it down because we had won the championship and we were going to the playoffs. So it was like, I don't need to get injured, things of that nature. But I really felt good about that, just getting back to that style of play because, I was like, this is more like me. I steal bases, so that was exciting. And then winning any championship I ever won at any level, that was always exciting. Just the group of guys that going through that with the group of guys that I played with, different personalities, different characters, the struggles of a long season and then culminating in a championship. So I love that aspect. Former players, I got many, man. I'm trying to think. You asked me within the Dodgers organization, all the guys were great. I mean, I met, Mike Piazza, Pedro, Ramon Martinez, Mondesi, Carroll. I met all the guys. They was before me, and when I was coming up, there's a lot of great guys in that organization that they took care of us. And from Darryl Strawberry when he came over, Eric Davis when they came over, Lenny Harris was he's a coach. I don't know if he's still coaching right now in the major leagues, but he was a guy that always would look out after the minor. Delino DeShields. It's a lot. Mike Harkey. It's a lot of guys, man. And that what made it, really great. So to name one favorite player would do a disservice to a lot of guys that I shared fond memories with and appreciated what they did for me.
And a lot of those guys are up in front offices now. Like Pedro is a special advisor up at Fenway to the general manager.
Yep.
Well, Mike Piazza does something with the Mets. And I think there was another guy, one of the Dodgers guys you mentioned. He's in the front office in Los Angeles.
Yep, my former teammate is the manager for the Red Sox, Alex Cora.
Oh.
And Tommy Goodwin's the first base coach there. So they making a rebound this year and everything. So yeah, I got a lot of friends, and they're doing quite good for themselves after retiring, so to speak.
Cora didn't stay that long in the game today. You're out of here.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I know they were winning. I saw that part.
Yeah, I have it over on Carl's Corner. I get all the Major League Baseball games, and Boone was really mad today because it was like, and you probably could understand that being a baseball player, but Garrett Cole didn't get the support by the umpire that the Rays got. It felt like it was like a prejudice, like he wanted the Rays to win instead of the Yankees.
Yeah, it happens, man. And I've been on that end, and, I've had my run-ins with umpires, and, whether it's at the plate or something about a call. They're not perfect. And, at the end of the day, I mean, I never want to blame something or blame a loss on one thing, like say the umpires, because at the end of the day, we got to score runs. We got to hit, and they got to throw the ball. The opponents got to throw the ball over the plate. Got to make adjustments. But I understand the frustration, and I did see him get thrown out today. I saw that Boone getting thrown out. Yeah,
I watched that game. I'm a New York fan. And also, speaking of my right fielder, he was playing center field the other day. He went to Fresno State. Aaron Judge, 6'7". Isn't he 6'7"?
Yep, he was there. Aaron was at Fresno, another Bulldog alumni. So we got Bulldogs all around, man, and representing the fraternity at Fresno State, and some have had are having success, had success. So it's good on them. Glad that things have worked out for each and everybody in their careers when it comes, to baseball. Since we're just talking baseball specifically, so, excuse me.
Yeah, you're a baseball player, so I have to talk baseball. If I had Paul Pierce on here, I'd have to talk about NBA.
Yep.
But I met Aaron Judge before, and he's a great guy. And he's humble. He's humble. Like they compared him to Derek Jeter, and he said, "There's only one Derek Jeter." He's humble. Not that many baseball players I've seen that play for the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, San Francisco Giants, Padres, Dodgers. Not all of them are humble. Some of them are humble, and some of them are characters.
Yeah, and Aaron is from a small city up out this way where I live at. It's called Olivehurst. It's probably from Chico to Olivehurst is probably like an hour drive. You drive through there, pass through there when you got to go to Sacramento to go to the airport. So it's from a small town. He got, those humble beginnings where he's come from, and it's carried over. He's, from all aspects, he's a great guy. From everybody that I've known that was at Fresno State and in the fraternity, and just people in general that talk about him, so good for him.
And the coach, wasn't he a coach at Fresno State? I'm not sure, but I know Judge had him. He was a friend of Kobe Bryant, and he died in the helicopter crash. Last year, I believe.
Yeah, which coach are you talking about? The current coach for Fresno?
It was the guy that his daughter played, was Kobe's daughter.
Yeah, I know who you talk. I know. I can't remember his name, but he was. He passed away on that helicopter crash. But he was a junior college coach down south baseball. I want to say Orange County, something like that. I'm not. Don't quote me on that.
I think he was, and I know that one of his daughters was living over in Massachusetts because they flew her out there to recognize the bodies.
Okay.
By bringing that up, I've always loved Kobe. I'm kind of like, Jack Nicholson, the season ticket holder of he's a Yankees fan and he's a Lakers fan. That's me, Yankees, Lakers.
You picking the two biggest markets, huh? You got one on each coast, so you can't lose. Like I said, if Yankees don't win it, you root for the Dodgers, and vice versa. What happens though if they play each other?
I I'm I'm a Lakers fan. I used to be a Dodgers fan years ago, and I used to see him down in Philadelphia at the new stadium, Citizens Bank Park, because I
Yeah.
liked Joe Torre, and I didn't like how the Yankees treated Joe Torre. I think he
Yeah.
should have stayed there and retired.
So yeah, the question that I got, if the Dodgers and Yankees were ever to meet up in the World Series, I think I know where you're gonna go with it, but I want your audience to hear where your loyalty will lie since you have both teams. Who would you picking? Who are you picking?
I wanted this World Series, and
Yep.
it was supposed to happen for us in 17, but the cheaters came along and cheat us out.
Yep.
But I'd pick the Yankees.
Okay. I just don't want you to lose viewership when you tell them you would pick the Dodgers. You might not have no people joining your radio show living in New York talking about you picking the Dodgers over the Yankees. Oh my goodness.
I have a lot of people from Boston too. And I have to say this, but when Boston was in the World Series, I picked the Dodgers that year. And I don't mind saying that, and I'm listening. I can't stand the Red Sox. I like Cora.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say you can't be no Yankee fan and then be talking about, well, they ain't in it, I'm gonna root for the Red Sox. That's blasphemy. You can't be that.
Yeah. That's like being a Dodgers fan and rooting for the Giants.
Yeah, no. No. That's not never. Nuh-uh.
So you were a center fielder in the minor leagues, but
yes.
you were also a pitcher, right?
No, I pitched one inning, one game in a blowout game. But I will say, in that inning that I pitched, I left out with a 0.000 ERA. Finished my career after that one inning. Never got back on the mound again.
Hey, I'll let you go. Vernon, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Maybe we'll get you back on the show sometime again. Nice to have you on. I hope everybody has a great rest of their Thursday night. Thank you again, Vernon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for everybody that watches this show. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you again.
Later.
See you later.